pumped because we get to talk about a new album. Hey, Thomas, Rhett, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good.
Good.
You're even better because you have like new music.
I know, I'm really excited. It's been a long time coming.
How long have you been sitting on this?
The record was done in like January. And so I've been living with it for a minute.
That's like having a Christmas present that you
Dude,
can't open.
It's like having a ring and not proposing for 6 months.
Ooh, that's awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so here it is.
Here
Hopefully
it
you'll
is.
say yes. Open the box
Exactly.
and you'll say yes. So you named it Center Point Road. That's where you grew up in Hendersonville.
Yeah.
All right. What was happening on Center Point Road?
Not a lot. People were just like, so why should we visit Hendersonville? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. I mean, there's a Zaxby's there. And
Hey, they're celebrating 50 years this year.
celebrating 50 years.
Yes.
I do love Hendersonville. I go back there maybe like once a month. My parents still live in Hendersonville.
Okay.
And, so Center Point Road was a street that kind of connected my neighborhood to kind of everywhere else, to school, to football practice, to friends' houses, and so many different first experiences that happened in that little town that I feel like kind of shaped who I am today. And a lot of different song titles and ideas kind of stem from looking back, and so I felt like it really needed to be named Center Point Road.
I like that.
And that's what it is.
I like
So-
that. It's like a little TBT.
Yeah,
nod
for sure.
to the past.
It definitely is.
You co-wrote all the songs.
I did.
So obviously there was a process where you were narrowing everything down. How many
Yeah.
songs did you write that just got put into a back pocket or into another bin for later?
Well, we've been writing this record since before Life Changes came out, and so there's probably 150, 200 songs or something like that we wrote for this project, and
Whoa.
not including all the songs that got sent to us, by other writers, and I would say that's the hardest part of making a record, is like through those years you're filtering and you're going, well, this isn't very good. We should just kind of drop that one. But then for some reason 6 months later somebody finds that song and they're like, what was this doing in the no pile? And you're like, you're right, that is a good song. And like it all just comes back and forth, and so finally you have to just trust that your team has done enough digging into all the songs that you've written that you have made the best project that you possibly could. So
It's like you have to Marie Kondo everything down.
seriously.
Get it down.
And I'm the
fold
worst
it.
of that.
Are you?
I can't get rid of anything. I'm like, but I wore that T-shirt and I'm like, but I haven't worn it in 6 years, but I have to have it.
You have
and
to
like
keep
with
that.
songs, I'm like, why do we have to let that one go?
Oh,
It's tough. It's really tough.
okay. Now, how hard is it now that you've got the two babies at home and they're outgrowing things? But that was, something that Willa had when she was a baby. How are you keeping all that stuff?
I'm getting better at it.
Are you?
2019 is my year to live simple. That was my goal for myself, and so I feel like I've gotten to more into the headspace of just like,
Clear it out.
it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, I know that they wore that on their first birthday, but it's fine.
It's all good.
You know what I'm saying?
I still have my
There's a
daughter's
lot of moms
first
out there going, you're
birthday.
going to throw her birthday shirt away?
You can't do that. I still have that. I still have my daughter's first birthday, so I totally relate
Yeah.
for that. All right, let's talk a little bit about growing up in this industry, because we know your dad. He's incredible and prolific songwriter in his own right. But being a kid growing up with that, what was that like for you?
To me, back then it was normal, but I
Okay.
think now that I'm a grown person, looking back at it, it was very abnormal from I think a lot of people's point of views. I think when you have a dad that has any bit of fame or whatever you want to call it, it's not a normal way to grow up. The people that you're around, you shouldn't be around them. It's just crazy that I grew up around people that I'm now working with today. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Being around Tim McGraw or Reba or Brooks and Dunn or Alan Jackson. I don't like hang out with Alan Jackson, but we're in the same business now.
Right.
And I met him when I was 5 years old because that's what my dad did for a living. And so, but I do feel like getting to go on the road with my dad and get to watch my dad make records and write songs really helped me. I think it helped, furthered me along in the process when I got into the business, because I felt like I knew more of what to expect because I'd seen it since I was, 5 or 6 years old.
Right.
So
now it's full circle, and you're raising two girls.
yeah.
How do you impart upon letting them be themselves, but then also what if Willa comes to you and says, Dad, I want to be in this industry, I want to sing?
Then I'm going to support her.
Okay.
I was saying this earlier today. It's just like my dad was so good at not pressuring us to do anything, but also didn't let us quit things once we started it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I think that was one of the biggest lessons for me to learn. It's like, I wish I could have quit football so bad. I was too little to play. I was like 135 pounds in high school. But you know what? My dad was like, you want to play football, you're going to stick out football.
Okay.
And that furthered into my work, life, into everything. And so I feel like I hope that's something that I want to instill in my girls too, but never give them any pressure as far as like, you have to be a singer or you should be whatever, a doctor or a lawyer or anything. I just want to find what their passions are and really just kind of support them through that, because that's what my dad did for me.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into this project and talk a little bit about it. You have a duet with Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, Centerpoint Road is the name of the record, and you know, I think when we wrote this song, we didn't know that it was going to be a duet at first. Okay. But sometimes, like those songs, the more you listen to them, you're like, dang, this would sound really good as a duet. And I grew up in Hendersonville. Kelsey grew up in Knoxville. I feel like we kind of grew up a little bit the same mindset, same kind of morals, same kind of, you know, small high school, small town life, and we've gotten to become good friends. And she just seemed like the person to make this song go from good to great. And so when she came and sang on it, it just like everything just elevated when she sang on it.
I was going to say, what is that moment like? Because you're hearing it, you obviously wrote it, and you've got it one way in your head. So that has to be a little scary to be like, okay, I want to see where this goes, bringing in another person. Yeah,
it's kind of scary, but I mean, Kelsey's just such a pro.
Oh, I know.
And I mean, she came in the studio. I wasn't there when she sang on it, but I was on the road, and my producer Jesse FaceTimed me, and he goes, "She's been here for 30 minutes, and she's already done." So like, that's how much of a pro that she is, and she came in and just killed her vocal. And I just feel like her voice dropping on that second verse just kind of hits you in like the way that it should have hit you in the first place.
Punches it home.
Yeah.
Look what God gave her. We were listening to it in the studio the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's this line about Lauren having haters, and I just find that impossible to believe, because nobody could hate your wife. She's
no, you'd
perfect.
Be surprised. You know.
What?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has them.
Yeah.
Everybody's got them. That's just the world we live in 2019.
How do you block that? How do you keep that away and not think about that? Because I heard this really weird thing the other day. It's like, okay, a positive comment, you'll hear it and you'll forget it within 12 minutes.
Yeah.
A negative comment will stay with you for 48 hours.
Super true. Or a lifetime.
Well, yeah,
if
depending.
It's bad enough. Yeah, it's just we live in such a world now where literally anyone can talk to anybody and say whatever they want to say. And not that Lauren has a bunch of haters, but we all have them in some form or fashion. But lately, something that I've been doing, which is not what this interview is about, but I feel like I should tell you this.
No, I want to hear it. Tell me.
There's an author by the name of Bob Goff.
Yes, no, I do know Bob Goff. He's amazing.
I met Bob when I was in Hawaii. We had lunch together. It was super random, but we sat down and we were talking about this whole what kind of world we live in with just comments and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, now when I get a negative comment, I try to get on their page and find some sort of way that they might have been hurt in their life, like go back and be like, if someone in their family had passed away or whatever, he finds something about their life and he prays for them. And then he said it's just completely out of his head. And so it's a little deep for this convo.
No, I love where we're going.
But I've been doing that, and it's been awesome.
Well, and to me, I heard this the other day, and it speaks to that: hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to lash out unless they have their own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
You should try it.
Shout out to Bob Goff. Praying for all you haters out there.
Bobby Goff,
my
baby.
Girl Lauren, I don't even know what you're thinking. She's an angel on earth. Is it one of those things when you are looking at social media, because you do have such a good rapport, and it is an amazing outlet to use it to get your music out there, to get your message out there.
Yeah.
How do you not spend hours on what they're doing and what you're, it's hard. It's a time suck as well. So
everyone in this room is looking at me like, this is the person you are.
Right.
But yeah, it's especially on the road, man. It's easy to just get sucked into the scroll. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I read this book called How to Break Up with Your Phone. You ever heard of this book?
No.
Anyway, it basically just talks about how your phone is like designed to.
Wait, let me get my phone.
To lock you in, but like you said, no, I think like your phone is so good for a lot of things, but it should not be the place that you go find affirmation about yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. It sounds like you're doing a lot of deep work beyond.
2019 is a big year for your boy.
2019. Yeah. We're clearing it all out.
Really,
head space and closet space. All the things.
That's right.
The cobwebs are gone, friends. But when you do that, how does that affect your songwriting? Because obviously, you're going to a deeper level and you're thinking about things it's not surface anymore.
Yeah, I think the less time I spend on social media, the more creative I am.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of weird, but the more declutter I have in my brain, the more I can think about songs, and the more that I can be creative as far as the writing process goes. So I'll go on little stints where I'll hop off of it for a couple weeks and then get back on it. But I do feel like I'm more creative when I'm not like just consumed in a phone or
a little
the internet,
social media
like
cleanse is good.
For sure.
Good for the soul. When you are in that writing process, what gives you inspiration? Like what juices you up? What are you finding, things you're looking at and you're like, yeah, I need that. I need more of that when I'm writing.
It's really about the people that you're around when you're writing songs, for me.
Okay.
Like, the vibe has to be perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you get into a room and the vibe is perfect and you write a smash in like 45 minutes. And that's like the coolest time ever, because you're like, dang, why can't every write be that easy? But none of them are. Like, I would say 98% of them are not that way. There were a couple songs in this record that we actually wrote two different ways. Like, Remember You Young was written one way, but what you hear is the second time that we completely rewrote it. And so songs that have that good of an idea are meant to be taken time on, and then there's some songs that just fall out of thin air, and it's all about the room, and it's all about your co-writers, and it's all about, are you distracted by anything? So for me, like being on the road, you're either on the bus or you're in catering at the arena. There's not many places to go, so your brain can be super focused on just writing songs, and to me, that's where I feel like the most creative.
All right, tell me about that song. I can't even say the title because I'm gonna cry. Remember You Young?
Yeah.
You played it for us. We've heard it. I cried. Everybody in the room cried. Here's the thing about that song. It hits you in all the feels, no matter where you are in your life at that time. So what's it going to be like for you when you're performing this on stage? How do you not think about Willa and Ada and Lauren and start crying?
Yeah. Well, first of all, performing new songs is about the scariest thing you can do because people don't know the words to them.
Good point.
And so we played Remember You Young for the first time in London, Ontario this past Saturday. We played it for the first time ever in London, England. I didn't even think about that.
Ooh.
So London, England, London, Ontario. This is the first time that we played it with all of our production, and because the first time we played it was just piano, but this last time was like the way that the record was done. And it was so cool because the song had only been out for like 4 or 5 days. And then immediately when the piano intro came on, everyone in the audience put their cell phone light in the air. And usually I have to ask people to do that. It was completely unannounced, and I started singing it. And that's like one of the songs that I will allow myself to close my eyes on the entire time, because I feel like if I open my eyes, I'm not going to be able to handle it.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
yes, I do know what
I give myself the opportunity to close my eyes on that one. So it was awesome. It was really cool.
Where were you when you wrote that? Give me just a little insight on what was happening that day.
I was on a bus in Nebraska. I remember that.
Okay, lots of corn.
I've had this concept of a song in me since I was about 17 years old. I remember my Bible teacher in high school was reading this verse, basically talking about his wife, and he was like, always like basically view your wife in her youth. It was like some Old Testament Isaiah, maybe, I'm not totally sure, but that idea of that has always been in my head. And then Remember You Young kind of became a title as we started talking about that concept. And so the original way we wrote it was just about Lauren, and then the second way we wrote it was about my buddies and Lauren and my babies. And hopefully one day when you get up to heaven, God looks at you like you're a kid, like an innocent kid too. So it kind of, like you said, it hits you in all kind of different facets, which I think is what makes the song super relatable. So
good, so good. Yeah, that's at least a box of Kleenex, maybe 2. Just putting it out there for everybody. If you haven't heard it yet, get ready. Let's talk about some of the collaborations that are happening right now. I mean, it is an exciting time to be in our industry, and country music is just taken such an amazing turn. So many different people coming in. Give us your thoughts on collaborations. I know you've stepped out of your comfort zone a few times. Why is that important?
I just think that country music now has never been bigger than it is right now. And I think the reason for that is because of all the out-of-genre influence that's happening. And with, Maren doing the middle and Kelsey being on a Chainsmokers song, Kane Brown, all these artists that are doing pop and hip-hop collabs, and inviting people like Khalid to be on a CMA, and then Kane goes and does a billboard or whatever it is. Like, I think that the world is starting to now know country artists, and I think that it's really cool that we can now be considered global acts because of, I think, different collaborations like that. People in, how would people in Asia have any idea who you were if you weren't maybe attached to a Chainsmokers song or this song? And I just think it's really cool. I haven't done much of an out of genre collab yet, just because I'm I don't want to just hop on one to hop on one.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. That was my follow-up question to you: is what is the dream scenario? Because it has to be right. I mean, if it's forced, everybody's gonna know that's not you.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to be a part of the writing process, first of all.
Okay.
I think a lot of the time you just get pitched songs and people are just like, hey, we want you and so to do this collab together. And it's like, neither of us ever heard the song. Neither of us, it's not really content that we would say. And third of all, we don't even know each other. And so I think the more organic it can be, the better. So like, you know, working with artists that you're friends with, people that you've met at the Billboard Awards or at the Grammys, and like you've talked about writing, and then you do, and then something magic happens. I think those are the moments when the crossover thing is as big as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, oh, they want me to be on this track, but I don't know that I love the song, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just to kind of be on it.
But you know what? What you just said is such a different departure from what a lot of people are trying to be. You are authentically you, and it comes through in your music, and you won't put your name to or be a part of something that isn't Thomas Rhett.
Well, I just feel like it's a disservice to myself and for the people listening to it.
Right. Know? I feel like this is just the beginning of what we're gonna see. You know, it makes me so excited to hear what's happening in your life, and then to let us behind the curtain too.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for doing that, because there are a lot of people that don't. They really like to keep everything separate. They want their family here and their career here. But I feel like that's why we all love you so much, is we feel like we're a part of your family.
Very much. I appreciate
in a weird
that.
way. I'll be over Sunday.
Got a lot of brothers and sisters. Yeah.
It's so very good. Okay, so one takeaway from Centerpoint Road. If there's one thing that you want people to really know about this album, what is it?
I hope that if you feel like you know me, then you get to know me better than you did before you listened to this record. I just felt there's a ton of things on this album that I've never really talked about before, as far as like real personal into like mine and Lauren's relationship, and then the things that are on my brain as far as like not wanting my kids to grow up and all this kind of stuff. I hope this record takes you to a place where it took me. I hope it takes you back to your hometown and lets you relive some good memories and lets you hash out some bad ones. And I love this record, and I think it's a good one to listen to from top to bottom.
Love it. Have you been back to Centerpoint Road lately?
Yeah, well, my parents live out there, so
they're still there?
I drive it every time I go back, just to kind of roll the windows down and listen to some good old Kenny Chesney and just reminisce. But yeah.
Now you can listen to Centerpoint Road on Centerpoint Road.
That'll be tight.
Do it on an Instagram story for us, please. That's what we're looking forward to, Centerpoint Road. Thomas, it's always so great to talk to you.
Likewise.
All right.
Thanks.